I think I found it.
Alright, and welcome back to 2013 VSU Cup Series Racing. Tonight we're here with the Red Line Designs Pole Award, sponsored by, this is the shootout for 2013, sponsored by Red Line Designs. And can you believe it? Another year is here. New season about to begin. Just seems like a couple of days ago we were running around Homestead, Miami for championship weekend, and now here we are with a brand new year coming up. Got a lot of guys out here on the track tonight. We had 33 who are qualified and eligible for tonight's 2013 VSU, the Red Line Designs shootout here tonight. We had Anthony Calatoni, who was our 2012 pole winner, is eligible. Benjamin Britton, who's finished in the regular season top 20 and also the postseason top 20. Brandon Lowe's eligible, who has a 2012 pole winner and postseason top 20 winner. Our championship from last year winner, Bruce Turner, who's top 3 in quals and posted a postseason top 20. Got Charles Chapman, who is eligible, top 20 regular season finalist. Also Chuck Garcia, who got in on a 2012 pole winner. Got Christian Vasquez, who's a postseason top 20 finalist. Darren Benj, a top 3 quals and a postseason top 20. Also got Danny Gutierrez, who was a top 20 regular season finalist. Dwayne Hall was eligible, but is not here racing tonight as a 2012 pole winner. Dominic LaRusso, also another 2012 pole winner. Dale Reynolds, 2012 pole winner and the 2009-2010 Cup Series champion. Dennis Wright, who is a top 3 in quals and a postseason top 20. Also Ed Wilson, who's a top 20 regular season finalist. Frankie Samato, who was a top 3 quals and a postseason top 20. Justin Barden, a top 20 regular season finalist. Josh Biddle, who's a regular season top 20 and a postseason top 20. Got Jovan Cherry, who's a postseason top 20 finalist. Jeremy Enix, a 2012 pole winner. Jerry Hinkle, regular season top 20 as well as a postseason top 20. Jacob Popolowski, who was a 2012 pole winner. Also Kevin Buchanan, who was a 2012 pole winner. Kevin Hibbett, top 3 in quals and a postseason top 20. Kevin Kelly, who was our 2011 shootout winner and also posted a postseason top 20. Kevin Lent, a 2012 pole winner and 2012 shootout winner. Louis Bussa, who's a 2012 pole winner and a 2012 playoff champion. Also Nick Thames, who was a top 3 quals, I'm not sure of Pyland's first name, 2012 pole winner. Roland Pyland, I'm being told. Also we had eligible Stephen Mahana, who was a top 3 in quals last year and a postseason top 20. Tony Ball, who was a top 20 regular season finalist. Travis McKinney, top 3 in quals and a postseason top 20. Timothy St. Jean, top 3 quals and postseason top 20. And Robertson, who was a top 3 in quals. We have my last count there. I show 22 out here to take the track tonight. Starting order for tonight was randomized by a pick earlier in the day. They've all been set for the grid. We'll be going live here with some racing very soon. Up here in the booth with me tonight, I got Stephen Mahana, who will be working production for us, and we're about ready to go racing here pretty soon, guys. It looks like we got the counter I'm showing about 6 minutes and 40 few odd seconds here before we go.
Yes, sir. So, Dookie, what do you think the racing is going to be like tonight?
Well, I'll be honest with you there, Stephen. Tonight's race is not about points. It's not about nothing more than pride and money. So I think you're going to see a lot of hard racing tonight. I see you're going to see friends become enemies and enemies become friends out there on the track tonight. And it's all out brawl tonight because, like I said, this is not for points. This is not regular season racing. This is nothing more than bragging rights, and everybody wants everyone to know that they've won the shootout.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. You say prizes, and there's definitely a prize tonight. Redline Designs is putting up a diecast model car for the winner tonight. And way Redline Designs is actually what they do is they create custom diecast. Um, and so what he will do is if you want a custom diecast for, say, an ARCA car that you're racing on ARCA or iRacing or any of those sim races, go to redline-designs.com and he will hook you up with a custom diecast. But the winner tonight will get a custom diecast, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to give a definite thank you there to Redline Designs, for sponsoring tonight's race, also sponsoring the pole awards there for last year. Just like you said, I've been over visited their website there, and some real nice looking cars out there. Nick Tames, who you'll see out here in that 51 car tonight, he will be running the 51 car tonight, but he's the owner there of Redline Designs, and I saw some of the stuff he's done. He's got some nice clientele who's also been getting cars from him. So that stuff, he's got some real nice work he does.
Yeah, most definitely. Some of it he does actually trucks. I believe he does the Sprint Cup cars. He's done a couple for some real big time guys. So definitely a good talented person who can make these diecast cars. So definitely check him out.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's got some high-end clientele he's done before. I'm trying to pull his website up here. I'm kind of flipping back and forth, but I remember, if I ain't mistaken, even Brian Keselowski. Some of you may know who he is, some don't. Younger brother of Brad Keselowski. He's one of the clients, and had some work done by Mr. Nick Tames there with Redline Designs. So, but tonight's racing, like I said, Buster, Steven, getting back to that, it's definitely going to be intense. I've been watching some of these guys out here on the track. I've seen a lot of guys drafting with people they don't normally draft with tonight. They're kind of looking, picking, and choosing, see who they want to go with, who they can go with, and like I said earlier, you might see some friends become enemies tonight because it's all on the line tonight. It's all pride. It's their prize is there, and the pride of knowing that you won the shootout. I mean, that's something that just like we have a racer here, Tony Ball. Gatorade Duels winner last year, #2. And even if he never won another race, that guy talks about that all the time, and there's nobody will be able to take it away from you.
That is the truth. Now, do you think these guys will be teaming up for this race, or do you think that they're going to just pick any guy that can get them to the front?
I'll say, in all honesty, most of these guys have picked out who they want to go out there and who they want to draft with tonight. But this is Daytona once again, and sometimes you get in positions where nothing more than just like a prime example there. Thursday night, I think it was. We had a nice 3-car pack going. We were catching people. Then pit stops come around. You get separated from who you were drafting with, and can't always go with who got you there. You got to go with who's there now.
Yeah, most definitely. And these guys are out there right now for the last happy hour session. And we got about 2 minutes to roll in, or 2 minutes 40 seconds about to roll into that. We'll have the national anthem coming up shortly.
Right, Steven, and like I say, once that national anthem's going over with, we'll be bringing you back live right after the national anthem, going through the starting grid as they pull numbers from the bottle and then randomly selected tonight. So stay tuned. We'll have our national anthem, then we'll be back live.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
a little bit from what you're seeing right now. So things will, that air temperature may cool down a bit. Track temperature may cool down quite a bit too, which is going to cause for a lot more grip and a lot more speed in these cars tonight. But that's what's going to make it interesting. All that speed coming out of these cars will be make for a fun racing tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. Their happy hour was in the daylight, but the race will be going to a nighttime session, so those temperatures will be cooling off pretty quickly.
Yeah, those tracks will definitely cool off quite a bit, and that's going to make hopefully these guys have their cars set up for the nighttime. Because if they ain't got those cars set up for nighttime, it's going to get real interesting. You may have a good car out here in the daylight, but once that sun goes down, the track cools down, it could be a whole different change there for nighttime racing. All right, and we're going through here, kind of looking at our front runners here. As looking at the starting grid. Up in first place, we got the number 83 of Timmy St. Jean. Second place, the number 34 of Ben Britton. Third place, the number 51 of Nick Taines. Starting in fourth place tonight will be the 76 of Joshua Biddle. Fifth place will be the number 4 car of Dennis Wright. Sixth place, we'll have the number 25, who's actually the 42, has some car problems tonight, of Travis McKinney. Seventh place will be the number 24 of Chuck Garcia. Eighth place, the number 67 of Kevin Buchanan. Ninth place, the number 23 of Frankie Samato. 10th place, rolling off, will be Darren Binge in the number 15. 11th place will be the number 84 of Anthony Calatoni. 12th place will be the 14 of Kevin Hibbett. 13th will be the 54 of Charles Chapman. 14th will be the 08 of Danny Gutierrez. 15th, the number 30 of Kevin Kelly. 16th will be the number 19 of Jeremy Enix. 17th, the number 3 of Louis Bussa. And 18th, the number 27 of Dale Reynolds. 19th, the number 8 of Christian Vasquez. 20th will be the number 88 of Ed Wilson. Rolling off in 21st will be the number 48 of Dominic LaRusso. 22nd will be the number 12 of Jerry Hinkle. And rolling off in 23rd, last starter for tonight, the 03 of Bruce Turner. And that is your starting lineup for tonight. As looks like we're coming down the back stretch here. Everybody's starting to tighten them belts up. See a few cars weaving back and forth, trying to get them tires warmed up. And I tell you, that's a very interesting kind of looking at up there in second place. That's a very interesting paint scheme there being ran tonight by Ben Britton there at number 34. That looks like it's the Where's Waldo scheme. I saw him talking about that on Facebook there tonight. He was going to be running the Where's Waldo car. So kind of keep a lookout for him tonight, see if he can keep that car up there toward the front. He was having a real good year last year, leading the points all the way up going into the chase, but had a good chase run, but just wasn't enough to take out Bruce Turner last year.
Yeah, it looks like they're coming pretty close to take the green. And this will be the start of your Redline Designs Shootout.
Alright, looks like the pace car is ducking down pit road now. And these guys are starting to, looks like Britton may have got a little bit of a head start there, but he gives up a little bit, and there we go. And we're off and we're green. Racing is going to get interesting now. Let's see what we get tonight. Looks like that top line, the first few cars have ducked down, went to the inside there, kind of trying to get themselves in a nice little spot there, just single file and running. Looks like, though, Timmy St. Jean is leading the way right now.
Yeah, he sure is. Timmy, then Ben Britton, and then Nick Taines. These guys are trying to get in that single file up front, but while they're doing that in the front, out in the back, these guys are still too wide, and we'll see how long this keeps up.
Alright, looks like that top line, a few of them have jumped up there. Looks like Nick Taines is going to try to go around the 83 there of Timmy St. Jean and try to take over at number 1 position, but looks like a few others jumped back down low. Looks like we got about a 5-car pack down there on the inside and a 2-car on the outside. Now, that outside, if they can get that thing going, it will move. We've seen that over the last few weeks of practice racing here in NuffWORLD, but looks like right now Nick Taines has put that number 51 out front, but here we go into turn 3. Looks like that top line, they got a little bit of distance there between the second car and third car in that pack, and you know that could hurt them on the speed coming here out of turn 4. It looks like it's going to.
Yeah, most definitely. They were single file up front for a little while. Now they're all getting double file, and look like it's getting to be tough to hold that bottom line. The grip should be coming in this track with the temperatures dropping off like they are.
Yeah, that and the fact those tires still haven't gotten up to temperature yet after, you know, just a lap or two. It's going to take a few more, maybe a couple more laps, those tire temperatures get up there, and that'll make a big difference for these guys once those tire temperatures. Right now, they're still a little low on the tire temperatures, so that's going to play a lot of part, too. It looks like number 34, Ben Britton, has moved himself up into second now, staying fairly well glued to the back bumper of Timmy St. Jean, as Timmy St. Jean is leading the way with Ben Britton in second, and Chuck Garcia now shown in the third position, as well as Frankie Samato back here in that 23 car back in fourth position. Looks like they kind of narrowed themselves out, looking into a nice little single car pack there on the bottom line.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, you would think that they would just be sitting there riding a single file line, but they're early. They did go double file, and now they're trying to get single file. Do you think they're going to stay here and ride for the most of this race and try to get to the end so they can earn that trophy of that die-cast car, or do you think they're just going to try to get to the front as soon as possible?
Well, I think there's a lot of different strategies going on out here right now. I mean, like we saw earlier there with Nick Thames in the number 51. You know, he's wanting to get up there. He's wanting to get it in front. But looks like right now the top three that we're seeing, they're fairly well just content to kind of ride along for the moment there, you know, try to put a little distance on the field if they can kind of get themselves into a breakaway. And if this thing stays green and they can stay in that single file line for a while, as you can see, they're starting to become two decent-sized packs there, as the first pack has pretty much maintained themselves single file the entire time, while, you know, that second pack back there has been too wide the whole time. So they're starting to move away from the second pack, break into two packs, and if this thing stays green like it did in the Pearson series the other night, we're going to see cars strolled out all over the track, and then when you start coming in for pit stops, that's when guys are going to get spread out, and you're going to start losing some drafting partners that you had earlier in the race.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And Chapman, number 54, is actually leading that second pack. Their object there is going to be trying to stay single file and catch that front pack. Now, what they might be doing is backing off and, you know, trying to avoid the big one. But it looks like that second pack is actually a lot bigger than that first one.
Yeah, the second pack is definitely a lot bigger there than that first pack that we were looking at, you know, with only 8 cars now showing in that first pack. But as I'm kind of looking at that whole pack, though, they don't look like they really tucked up onto each other too much. And seems like the guys in that second pack, there's quite a few of them that have a little different lines, and they're not really staying together like they need to be to make up the time they're going to have to get on these guys, because that first pack has really started walking away with this thing with over a 2.5-second gap now between the first pack and the second pack, with only 6 laps gone in this race.
Yeah, you're definitely right. That second pack is heating up. That outside line is trying to gather together to get past that inside line. And they're definitely going to be a little bit slower than that single file line up there.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, you know, kind of going back to that, you know, still staying with this second pack, looking at them, looks like, the 76 there, Josh Biddle, kind of moved up the hill a little bit, and Benj moved himself down in there, and he's pulled up pretty close to Benj and Chapman, well, they were there together there pretty good for a couple of seconds, but now Benj has jumped to that outside, see if he can get any takers to kind of maybe lead this pack, or they may be just right now trying to jostle around, see who can lead that pack the fastest and kind of get themselves up there, because sometimes here at Daytona you can find out, you know, that one car up front, you can make some pretty good speed, but if you swap the 2 cars or 3 cars around, put a different car up front, you can pick up 2-3 miles an hour, which makes a big difference out here on this track in trying to catch a pack.
Yeah, you just never know who has a better aero package out there, so you're trying to swap it up a little bit and see who is fastest out front and who's a better pusher maybe at that point.
Yeah, still looking here at this second pack. Looks like the number 4 there, Dennis Wright, has pulled up to the number 15 of Darren Benz there. And I know these two were teammates last year, and it looks like they're starting to make some momentum out there on that outside line. And Benz looks like he is just about cleared the 54 of Chapman there, but Wright's staying with him, and they may be able to, if they can make this stick and get around Chapman, they may be able to drop down on that line like we were talking about earlier, and the 2 of them lead those guys back up to the front pack. Seems like they're a lot faster out there on that outside line with just the 2 of them.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. What we're going to do is we're going to try to get some speeds at the line, see what that front pack is running, and see what if we can get that speed for the second pack.
Yeah, speeds at the line ought to be interesting. That's kind of the telltale tape of it all right there. I mean, to see who has got the fastest car. Of course, we're still early in the race. Those are going to change a lot throughout the race, but that'll make it, kind of get an idea of what we're looking at right now as far as speeds.
Yeah, most definitely. And that last time by, speed of the line with Timothy St. Jean, 187, and that second pack starting with Chapman is 185.474. So there is definitely a 2 miles an hour difference between that first and second pack.
Yeah, like I say, that first pack's been pretty much, they've gotten into the positions, and doesn't look like they've hardly changed anything since they got in that single file line, and they've stuck with that the entire time. And you see, just like you said there, Stephen, a 2 mile an hour difference, which at that speed, it's a big difference out here on the track.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, I think it's about a 30 lap pit stop, or they have to run about 30 laps and then a pit stop. So we expect them to be coming in about 20 laps or so. Now, with that being said, do you think these guys are going to be taking 4 tires and going back out there, or do you think they're going to be doing some pit strategy?
I will be honest with you, Stephen. I don't see too many people taking 4 tires unless we have a caution tonight. I would say about all the pit stops we're going to see under green tonight are going to be 2-tire stops, because it takes you, if you want to fill that tank up, it's going to take you about 8 seconds there in the pit lane. And if you go down for 8 seconds, you might as well go ahead and take 2 fresh Goodyear rubbers on there and get that car, where it'll handle best. And if you can keep, one pit stop, you go ahead and take right side. The next pit stop, you take left side. You can kind of keep some good tires underneath it, which may be a big difference later on. And I'll be honest with you, it may not even surprise me on that last pit stop if you don't see any tires going on these cars. Some guys will take that chance and roll the dice to pick up another maybe 4 or 5, possibly even 10 positions out there on the track with taking no tires.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely agree with you on that one. It's a difference between an 8-second pit stop, 2 tires and fuel, or a 13, 14-second pit stop, 4 tires and fuel. So it's definitely going to be a smart idea to go with 2 tires, unless, of course, a caution happens to roll out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, you look at an extra 5-6 seconds on pit lane right here on this track, and at the speeds that you're running, you're talking about almost a half a mile's difference just in that 5-6 seconds, basically, a quarter mile to half a mile, according to how big the pack is at that time. So that's going to be a big difference out there on the track. And just to kind of put it in perspective, looking at the gap right now between that first pack and second pack, that's a 5.7 second difference. That's about the same amount of time you're talking about losing out there on the track, under pits.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that front pack, he really hasn't swapped it up much, other than what I see is Chuck Garcia was running in the 3rd position, is now moved into the 6th position. So he must have stepped out of line, or somebody got underneath him and pushed him up the hill, and looks like Frankie Smalta may have let him in there.
Yeah, it looked like Chuck may have got just a little bit tighter, maybe got in there a little quicker than he wanted to, and he got up the hill there just a little bit, but he was able to find himself getting back in line to keep that whole pack together, and they really didn't lose anything there. As Ben Britton still hanging out up there in second place, excuse me, and Timmy St. Jean still leading the way. This guy's up there in front, and it don't look like him or Britton, either one, are looking to make any kind of moves right now. They're just happy riding where they're at and trying to make this pack go.
Yeah, most definitely. And that is on board with the front bumper of Ben Britton. He's currently in the 2nd place, but you can see there's no gap for those guys, so that's most definitely why they're pulling out, or pulling away from that 2nd pack.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job so far in this race of staying fairly close to each other in order to keep that draft hooked up and keep themselves moving forward and moving at a good speed. Whereas, like I say, we were looking at that 2nd pack earlier. It looks like they're moving around, still kind of jostling for position, trying to get everything lined out, and that's where they're getting all this speed from. But looking at that gap here now, the last lap and a half, it hasn't been a big difference that first pack has made on the second. So that 2nd pack may have something lined out now to where they've gotten happy and kind of gotten themselves into a groove and decided we need to catch this first pack before they get too far away.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right. And if you look, Luis Bussa and Christian Vasquez moved it up to the 1st and 2nd place of that 2nd pack. And those two are teammates from Swagger Inc. So I believe with those two guys out front, we're going to be seeing some advancement and closing on that first pack. Especially with the second pack starting to step out, or the first pack starting to step out of line.
Yeah, you're right, Steven. I mean, these two are both, over there at Swagger Racing Inc., and they've been teammates for a little while now, and we saw it during the off-season racing, also in the preseason testing and stuff, and even a couple nights ago over in the Pure Sim series. These two really like to run together. They spent a lot of time running together. They've done a lot of practice sessions together. And Vasquez seems like he, even before they were teammates, Vasquez seems to be a very good pusher, and a lot of guys have, like to get around Vasquez. He seems to know how to push a car and get it moving. Now Vasquez, for those of you who don't know, just kind of an interesting little tidbit to throw out there. Vasquez is the only Costa Rican racer we have over here in the NuffWorld Racing League, racing with us all the way from down in Costa Rica. So he's a definite welcome, to our international flavor over here in NuffWorld, and has been so far, in the time he's been here, about a year to 2 years, he's been a definite asset over here to NuffWorld.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That guy, I believe he's 17 or 18 years old, and he won his first race at Homestead last year, last race of the year. Most definitely got some talent under there, and look forward to watching him progress this year in the VSU series.
Yeah, now looking back at Vasquez last year, last year was his rookie year here in the NuffWorld, and like you pointed out there, Stephen, he did win Homestead there last year, and what do you think? Do you think that was a big boost to this young man's confidence coming into this second season and now getting picked up and running with Willis Buss over at Swagger Inc.? How much difference you think that'll make to the confidence this young man has and how he runs this year?
Oh, I definitely think it's going to boost it. I mean, you're talking about a kid that went almost 35 races without a win. And then on his last race of the year, now he probably wished it would have come a little bit quicker, just so he could build that momentum at the end of 2012. Well, he's going to take that momentum from the 2012 and move this into 2013, so I definitely look to see that he will have a good night tonight.
Right, I'm kind of looking at the times and the gaps here and such. Had a stopwatch on that time last time as they came by the stripe, but as they currently run right now, as we've been talking, talking about how those two like to run together with Vasquez and Bussa there, they've actually made up almost half a second now that they've got those two up front on that lead pack, so they're starting to move themselves, closer to that pack. So, with pit stops coming up here, probably the next 10, 15 laps or so, or less, these two, according to what kind of pit strategy they take, and if they got guys on board behind them that are going to take the same strategy, they could all but erase that gap that first group has put together.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
But yeah, looking at that gap, like I say, they've definitely cut some time into it. It's not a huge amount. I mean, they're not sniffing the draft yet on that first pack, but they're definitely moving back closer to the front. And looking as kind of back up there in place number 4, Chuck Garcia, as we talked about him a little bit earlier there, had moved up the hill a little bit, got shuffled back into 6th, has moved himself back up into the 4th place position now. So that front pack has started putting themselves back in the same order they were a little bit earlier in the race when they were running away with things. So maybe that's something that they've looked at too and noticed that back pack catching up and have moved themselves around to get that faster group together again.
Yeah, definitely. Up there in that first pack, you saw the 51, the 24 go on the high side, and they were double file coming down the front stretch there for a little while. So what that did is that's going to allow that second pack to catch up, but it also shuffled the front pack, the running order.
Right, and it looks like that lap right there, just looking at the telemetry, that second pack did knock off about another 0.2. So after they've got themselves in right here and got back nose to tail in that first pack, looks like that gap isn't being erased as quickly now. So, but like you said earlier, or like I said earlier there, Stephen, these pit stops that are coming up, that could be a big difference maker. You come in there and you slide the tires coming in, or as we saw a couple of nights ago, you lock those brakes up when you're coming into pits and slide through the grass and miss your pits altogether, or pick up a pit road penalty. That's going to be a big difference maker, and I'm looking to see interesting how these pit stops are going to affect that front pack.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And speaking of which, of the Pure Sim series of the night, and just speaking from experience, I did lock up the tires coming into pits, But not only did I do that, I also hit somebody on the exit of the pit, and that caused some right front damage. So any little bit of damage here is going to, you know, really slow that car down. So they're going to try to avoid any front damage that they can.
Oh, that's most definitely. I mean, you get some body damage here. It's not like, you know, taking body damage at Bristol or Martinsville or maybe even, you know, someplace like a auto club. I mean, you take some front end damage here or some rear end damage, wherever it may be. The slightest little bit of damage messes up the aerodynamics on that car and drastically changes not only one, how fast it'll run, but number two, how well it handles. And you get a car when you start going into the corner and it don't want to turn, you know, at those speeds that you're going to be running 207 to 210. That can cause a real bad night for you and cause you to lose the draft altogether. And you lose the draft here, you are you're done.
Yeah, that's for sure. You definitely need a drafting partner out there.
Yeah, you're talking on average, shoot, 3 to 4 seconds difference between having a nice big pack versus trying to run by yourself here. I mean, and that 3 to 4 seconds a lap doesn't take long to add up to you're a lap down at a big track like this.
Most definitely, you know, you're talking 3 to 4 seconds a lap. That's like 10 to 12 miles an hour that you're off pace. So it doesn't take much to go a lap down here. I mean, it is a 2.5 mile wide track, but man, I tell you, or 2.5 mile long, not wide. It doesn't take much to get a lap down under 13 miles an hour off the pace.
Yeah, that's for sure. It looks like Garcia there, though. Look there in well, he was in fourth, he's in fifth now, but looks like he got a little high there once again going into turn one. I don't know if that car just ain't wanting to turn going into the corner or what, but he's got himself shuffled back to sixth there, and looks like he's trying to hang on to that draft and try to stay up there with those guys, but it looked like there for a second or so he was in danger of losing that draft with the first pack, and had that happened, you're looking at falling way back then.
Yeah, there's no doubt, but the good thing for him, he's in that first pack, so he could pick up that second pack as long as they're not in single file line.
Yeah, I just got a little word buzz in my ear here from Lacey down there, our pit reporter, you know, hanging out down on pit road and stuff. But I'm being told right now most of these guys are starting to talk about, say, 2 laps or so before pit stops are coming up here. So we're about to see some things I think get shuffled up here pretty soon. But now it looks like the 51 there, Nick Thames, he's moving out. He's looking to, well, I was about to say he's moving out and trying to make that high side work there, but looks like about the time he went out there to make it work, he had a car come with him and then dropped it back down. But as it come down, Chuck Garcia moves up and takes over that 5th spot as Nick Thames drops back down in line. But now it looks like Thames and Garcia are looking to possibly try to make that high side work, but I don't know. They may be just drifting around a little bit, searching to see, you know, Thames may be searching to see if anybody's going to go with him and how well he can make that high line work. If you remember back the first couple laps of this race, he was up there on that high side, and he had a little bit of drafting help, and he was trying to make that high side work, and, you know, kind of lost his drafting help and got shuffled back a little bit, so he dropped back down into that inside line and was able to hang on with the front pack. But he looks like he's wanting to try to make that outside line work, as Kevin Buchanan now on the 67 is coming up there behind Garcia. It looks like they're going to have a 3-car pack there on that high line, and they're going to try to make a move, you know, maybe get up there in the front, lead a few laps and get that away from Timmy St. Jean.
Yeah, but Timmy St. Jean and Ben Brenton are doing such a great job that that outside line can't pull up, which is kind of odd. You would think they had the high line had more people up there, and you'd think they'd be catching them quicker. But if you go ahead and look on the right side of your screen, this is our split screen, and that is watching our second pack. That second pack has closed it into a 4.2 seconds, so I definitely think that they're going to catch them.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to start catching them right before we have pit stops, which is like we keep referring to. That's going to be the great equalizer right here tonight, I do believe, because these guys look like the way they're running, they're going to keep this thing green just like they did Thursday night over in the Pure Sim Series for the entire 75 laps. So looks like it's going to be for some interesting racing as they start getting spread out. But of course, like you said, these guys in that second pack are starting to make some headway now, you know, coming back up towards the front. So they're not spread out as much as we saw a couple of nights ago over in the Pure Sim Series. So it could be some interesting racing here by the time we get to the end. We may have a big pack here in about another 15-20 laps.
We sure might. There's no doubt about that. It'd be interesting to see if they try to just keep in line or if they go to that high side and make it work.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing, and we saw here throughout the winter off-season testing now with the new repaved surface here on this track, that outside line will work, and it'll run just as good as the inside line now. So that's gave a lot of guys that have been up there and run that high lines. A few have already perfected it now, and they can make that outside line work and actually take that lead away on the outside rather than having to worry about that inside line all the time.
Yeah, sure could. Well, we'll be going to commercial right quick to see if we can't catch up to these guys when they start doing their pit stop. So this is Redline Design Shootout. Stick right where you are. We'll be right back.
TeamSpeak allows groups of people to communicate and share information with anyone via the internet or through private networks. Using your Windows, Mac or Linux-based computer, all you need is a headset with microphone, and in minutes you can be chatting with others in real time using our crystal clear voice technology. As a pioneer in the industry, TeamSpeak has become one of the most recognized brands in online gaming and voice-over IP solutions. TeamSpeak features include a customizable toolbar, a clickable server icon and support for channel icons, custom graphics and BB code-enabled info panes, detailed user info and support for uploading avatars, firewall-friendly file transfer, tabbed public and private text chat with logging, custom skins, themes and sound packs, and much more.
I'm someone that's more than just a casual gamer. It's important for me to have fast, organized, quality voice comms. With TeamSpeak, I'm able to quickly customize user permissions and email a privilege key to an offline user. So the next time they log into the server, they'll be set up exactly how I want them to be. TeamSpeak also lets us do file transfers, assign player rank, insignia, upload avatars, or create custom skins. For me, there's no better choice out there than TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak is free to use for non-commercial entities. Low-cost professional hosting is also available through our global network of authorized TeamSpeak host providers. For online gaming titles, social networks, government, military, or simulator projects, TeamSpeak also offers a software development kit. The TeamSpeak SDK allows developers to integrate our technology directly into their existing product or service. So no matter which game you're playing or with whom you wish to communicate, TeamSpeak has you covered. TeamSpeak. Flexible, powerful, crystal clear voice communication on any platform.
Whoa, and we're coming back live at the Redline Design Shootout. And we got our first pit stops coming in. That second pack was making their way in, and Louis Buss and the number 8 of Christian Vasquez made a major mistake.
Yeah, just like we were talking about earlier before we went to commercial break, these pit stops can be make or break for guys. I mean, you come down, you've got a good running car, and you're making up, time just like the number 3 and the number 8 was, and one miscue, and now they're going to be separated out on the track.
Yeah, we're definitely going to bring that replay to you.
Well, it looks like they were able to get out fairly well close together there, but they're back in 21st, 22nd position now. So, as you see, all the lead pack going by them again now. So they've lost a lap during that pit stop with a bad pit stop coming in. So they had a very bad pit stop, and it's cost them a lap right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Here's the replay of the number 3 and the number 8 coming in with the pit stop. Looks like they get in a little bit hot, and the 8 spins it around coming in. And then what may have happened is the 8 car tapped the 3 car and got him around as well.
I'll tell you, the way those two were spinning there together, they're both probably pretty lucky they didn't just completely destroy those cars the way they came in there like that. Looks like they may have forgot to wave to each other and let the pack behind them know that, hey, we're leading the pack, but you know what, guys, we got to jump down pit road here.
We sure do, because the whole field basically came down.
Yeah, we got some major pit stops going on now, and as those pit stops are going out, one man stayed out there. Well, a few stayed out, but right now we're showing the number 23 of Frankie Samato up there in the first place position leading this thing. He's following behind Jeremy Enix. I don't know what happened with Enix in these pit stops to get that far behind to be just in front of the leader right now.
Well, those guys, it looked like they stayed out one more lap, and right now they're coming into their pit stops there on the left side of your screen. You can see Enix and I believe that's Frankie Samato.
Yeah, that's Frankie Samato following behind Enix there, and you know, interesting. You know, sure enough, more cars have still stayed out though throughout this. Number 08 there of Danny Gutierrez has taken over the lead now out there in front, and he's followed by Darren Benz there in second place now. And wow, interesting one to see right now, that 88 of Ed Wilson currently in fourth place. We haven't talked much about him tonight.
No, we sure haven't, but he's done a really good job. He's been in that second pack, I believe, all night. And with these pit stops, the way they are taking off right now, looks like he might be back in that second pack. Looking on the left side of your screen, looks like the number 3 got a speeding penalty coming into pit road. I'll bet you he will be followed by that number 8 also.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. He got that speeding penalty because he come in there real hot, and then after he got it sideways, there just really ain't no slowing down the car once you're sideways. So it's no surprise there. Looks like Darren Benz may have had the lead that time as they came across the stripe going down pit road. But interesting thing, it may be Frankie Samato having the lead here pretty soon, and he's got no help there to push him around. So after all the pit strategies went through, Frankie Samato, I think everyone has hit pit road now, and Samato is back there, up there in first place now, followed by the number 84 of Anthony Calatoni. And, oh, there we go, just had a leap pass for second place. There comes Timmy St. Jean, taking over second place now, and Ben Britton taking over third place. So those two, looks like they got a pretty good pit stop in, got in together, got out together, no mistakes, and they're moving back up to the front. And wouldn't surprise me here in a few laps to, you know, just see Timmy St. Jean him and Britton just go around Samato, take that first and second place position back, and ride around like they were doing.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But it looks like for the most part that front pack has stayed together and did a pretty good job getting in and off pit road. But it looks like we don't really have a second pack right now, as they're pretty spread out. Most definitely that front pack did well of a job getting in and off pit road.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the interesting one in all that exchange, though, number 23 of Frankie Samato, I kind of missed, you know, how he pitted and his whole strategy. But I tell you what, he definitely had a good strategy, because he made a lot of positions up on that whole exchange of pit stops, because, you know, he's up there leading the race now. And earlier in the race, we really hadn't talked much at all about him, but here he is, you know, 39 laps in, leading this thing.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Looks like the second pack starts about 6 seconds behind with Danny Gutierrez and Hinkle, along with Kevin Kelly. And you got Dale Reynolds back there right behind them too. Looks like, which is watching these guys right now with, you know, back here in 12th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, so on and so forth. But Gutierrez, Hinkle, I'm being told there's a spin. I'm not sure where it's at. Looks like we got a caution out right now on the speedway. Yeah, looks like someone spun out there coming off of turn 2. Not really sure if they had a whole lot of help or so. We'll have to go back and look at that. But wow, that was some interesting timing. After everyone's done went in, got their pit cycles complete, and you know, things have gotten kind of sorted out. But for some of these guys, I'll tell you, the ones that was a definite break for, though, was that number 8 and that number 3 of Vasquez and Bussa. That was a huge break for those two. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. This will get everybody bunched back up, let them do one more pit stop. Probably come in and put 4 tires on if you're in the back somewhere, wouldn't you think?
Well, I was just about to say, if you're back there in the back, you really got nothing to lose at this point by going in and taking 4 fresh good years. There's nothing there to lose. But my question for you, Stephen, my my question there is going to be, how many of these front runners, after we just pitted like that a few laps ago, how many will actually come in? Because the way I'm showing as they stand right now, our lucky dog would most likely be the number 4 back there, Dennis Wright, which would still leave Louis Bussa and a few others a lap down. So I wonder, about taking the lucky dog. Bussa might not be so lucky after all with the way this caution did fall.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I don't know if these guys will pit or not. We'll find out in about 10 seconds. But I tell you what, they do have to make one more pit stop at the end of this. They are 41 and 75 laps, and they almost, well, it's going to be close. So I definitely think I would come in and try to conserve fuel as much as possible.
And just to update with that, I'm not really sure, haven't seen yet exactly what happened to bring out that caution, but I'm being told it was with the number 76 of Joshua Biddles. I'm seeing him on the tow truck behind the wall now. Looks like he's destroyed the suspension on that car, so that'll be our first casualty of the night from Daytona. So that'll be not played out well tonight for Joshua Biddle over with Team BBBS.
Yeah, and we don't look like that we got the first part of this incident here, but we do have the ending result, so looks like
really
3 people were involved in this accident.
Yeah, I'm looking at right now the number 51 of Nick Thames back here in 21st position. He's down here on the grass. Looks like he's having a hard time getting that car to move. He may have himself a few flat tires, so he must have been involved in that too. He's got a few flat tires there and ain't getting much traction in that grass trying to make it back down. But looks like it might be a bad night after all tonight for that number 51 of Nick Thames too.
Yeah, no doubt. It looks like the leaders did come in and pit. Not sure what they took 4 tires or not, but I guarantee they are made a wise decision. I think they can make it pretty close on fuel from here.
Yeah, that was the big thing Thursday night, as you referred to earlier, with that the Pure Sim series. There was a lot of guys who kept the first 2-3 pit stops that they stayed out and pushed those cars. I mean, myself and you included. Pushing those cars till they were almost out of fuel coming down pit road to get those couple extra laps, 2-3 laps here and there, and really paid off at the end on some of those guys. Had to pit with 2-3 laps to go, while others still had that plenty of fuel that they had saved, and made a big difference. I know myself personally in that Pure Sim the other night, I picked up about 6 positions because of that. So pit,
yeah, most definitely. It looks like Frankie Samato is the one who, or excuse me, Anthony Calatoni, and it's Denny Gutierrez and Jerry Hinkle out front. But if you notice, there's a couple cars in front of them.
Yeah, that much is true. Looks like we're going to have us Louis Bussa. Definitely looks like he's going to try to take that wave around for sure. But yeah, it looks like we're going to have ourselves a couple of wave rounds here in a couple of seconds. So if they decide to stay out.
Yeah, it looks like Wright was going to stay out, but he might be peeking out or peeking off to go down pit road. I thought he was going to take that wave around as well. It looks like it's going to be Louis Bussa by himself taking a wave around here.
Yeah, I think I'm not really for sure. I haven't looked at who the popped up yet, but I think that number 4 Wright may have actually been our lucky dog and was just now getting to pit because of that being a lap down. So he may still end up getting his lap back anyway. So
in pits,
if it plays out the way it is, it looks like Bussa and Dennis Wright there may both end up being back on the lead laps, which could still, if Bussa hasn't done much damage, he could still possibly overcome tonight that pit road mess. But like I say, with Anthony Calatoni, that's one. He's moved himself up there, and Gutierrez looks like they've made some sort of alliance, as they came through the pack up here tonight. But kind of go through after pit stops and such. Right now, our top 5. We got the number 84 of Anthony Calatoni leading the way, number 08 of Danny Gutierrez back there in 2nd place, Jerry Hinkle in the number 12 running in 3rd, and Timmy St. Jean in that number 83 still running 4th, with Ben Britton in the 34 in 5th place. So looks to me like Timmy St. Jean and Ben Britton, they may have done some talk before this race tonight, and no matter what, those two are trying to stick together through thick and thin tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Well, it looks like they're trying to get some scoring issues processed here. We're going to take a quick commercial break and try to get you green on this next time by.
Do you know where your world is? I think I found it.
And we are back here at the NuffWORLD Red Line Design Shootout. These guys are double file, getting ready to go back to green here on lap 45 when they hit the line.
Yeah, just give a quick update too while we're going away to commercial break there. The number 51 of Nick Thames, looks like there was just too much damage on that car after the accident, so he's been put back behind the garage, back behind the wall there in the garage, and he's done for the night. That's a tough break for our tonight's sponsor driver there, number 51 Nick Thames, you know, driving for RedlineDesigns.com, you know, so he had a good run going there for a while, but you know, of course this is Daytona, anything can happen.
Yeah, and also we had the number 4 who got the lucky dog, and Louis Bussa who got the wave around on that, so they will be back on the lead lap.
Yeah, it looks like we got the green here. Looks like that top line got a real good restart there, but Anthony Calatoni up there in first place at number 84 quickly jumps down to the inside, and you know that 83 there has just been left hanging out on the outside there, Timmy St. Jean. So he's going to have to find him a position to get in there, and soon, or he's going to be losing a lot of positions here if he can't get back down to that inside or get somebody to pop on that outside to help him out.
Yeah, and it looks like 24 went from the bottom line into the outside line. That would be Chuck Garcia. And it looks like they might try to make that outside line work after all. Ooh, 14 gets in the sucker hole position right down the middle. He finds a good spot on that outside line.
Yeah, he lost quite a few positions there, and it was looking a lot worse for him there for just a second. It looks like Ed Wilson there in the number 88 may have backed up just a little bit to kind of let him in there, but looks like they're trying to make that top line work now. Maybe they're looking at the laps to go and thinking, yeah, it's time to start making some moves and just kind of quit riding around, because they saw how quickly that front first and second pack got separated on the first restart when we started the green flag here tonight. But maybe they're thinking, hey, it's time to put these cars together and kind of make something happen. But looking at that 14 again here, I'm still kind of watching him. Looks like he's thinking twice right now about trying to make it 3 wide and go up the middle again.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need some help if he's going to try that one out for size. But, you know, we were sitting there talking about Louis Bussa and Christian being lucky that these guys had a caution and got back on the lead lap. But you know, ultimately, it really helped everybody out because the second pack started about 8th position again and was about 6 seconds behind. So this put them all back up in the front pack, and they're definitely trying to make their way to the front now.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it helped a lot of people out with that caution because, as you stated right there before the caution came out, you know, it was getting pretty spread out, and you know, you had 2- and 3-car packs all over the track, you know, spread out everywhere. And from what I was paying attention, kind of seeing there, you know, Vasquez was the last car on the lead lap. It wasn't too far in front of the leaders when that last caution flew, so it was definitely a break for him. And then, like you said, with Louis Bussa getting the wave around there, and that car number 3, you know, that definitely helped him out to get back on the lead lap. So now he's actually competing for positions once again. So it was definitely a lucky break for a lot of cars.
Yeah, they're definitely happy about it. Rain car here with Kevin Kelly, and look at the action that's going on the track, and wow, it looked like there's a caution out of that one.
Yeah, it looks like cars kind of went everywhere back there, and that happened right in front of Louis Bussa, not too far in front of him there. I kind of missed what happened there, but it looks like the 27 of Dale Reynolds may be involved in that.
Yeah, and we definitely had a caution on that one. And you saw that from the end car. You can see it right up there on the right where the incident started happening. See if we can't get a replay of what happened.
Yeah, so, you know, as the old saying goes over here in NuffWorld, you know, cautions breed cautions. And we had a lot of nice green flag racing there for a long time. And after that first caution, you get everybody back together. Now they, you know, it's kind of getting towards the end of the race, about the middle way point now. Everybody's starting to think, you know, it's time to start making some moves, try to get somewhere, and you start seeing a few mistakes, or a little more aggressive driving, or a little less give and take, we should say, you know, than what you would normally see at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, most definitely. If you look at the 83 on the high side here, this is a replay of it. Looks like maybe just they went 3 cars bumping. It's hard to tell, but it definitely stacked them up, and then car in the middle. See if we can't rate.
Yeah, it was. It's definitely that's one of the things you got to kind of watch for here. I mean, you know, in races like this, because you know, 2 cars you can you know beat on each other's bumper plenty and have no problems. But when you start getting a second and third car out there in a pack together, they want, of course, you want to put the cars as close together as you can, get them nose to tail, you know, and that's the fast way around. But you know, you start getting 2, 3, or well, 3, 4 more cars, and they get nose to tail, and they start rubbing them bumpers a little bit. You can easily get those cars very upset and cause some issues with the guy in front of you.
Yeah, and what it looked like was after the 83 got a little wiggle there, 27 checked up, and the 24 didn't have time to check up, and just put the 27 in the wall.
Yep,
right now that 27 is on pit road trying to get service of that car, see if he can't get it back out there.
Yeah, I've been alerted that the 27 did, however, come down. You know, of course, he had not much of a choice. He did come down on a closed pit road there, so he's going to end up with a black flag out of that deal. But you know, it's a lot better than the alternative of possibly losing a lap trying to get that thing fixed. You know, under other circumstances. But yeah, that's definitely a tough break for that number 27 of Dale Reynolds. As he'd been having a pretty good run tonight. I mean, he wasn't up front most of the night or leading the way, but you know, he's definitely had a fairly solid run. Looks like he was kind of just paced himself, taking his time, making his way through the field, and you know, in that restart, he had positioned himself, you know, a little bit closer to the front, maybe to make a move later on in the race, find his own dancing partner. But that's definitely he took a large hit right there, and it looks like it's done some serious damage to that car. You know, as far as the aerodynamics, and it'll be interesting to see how that thing handles now, because it's definitely not going to be the same car he had.
And these guys are lining up to go double file and take the green again. Looks like the Anthony Calatoni is still our leader in the 84 on the high line. He has chosen that high line. Now, what do you think about that? It seemed like that bottom line would be a little bit quicker, wouldn't it?
It seems that way, but he may be trying to kind of contemplating looking at the cars that are behind him. If you look back there, currently right now in third and in fifth, you got Ben Britton and Timmy St. Jean lined up right there together, and you know these guys have been working together all night. So if you can kind of keep your car in front of them, you know those two are going to stay together, and you know, hey, might be a good idea for Calatoni there to have done that in that number 84 car.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that 84 crew chief told him that 34 has been pushing Tim St. Jean all night up front. Why don't you pull up there on that high side and let him push you for a couple laps?
Yeah, and a lot of these crew chiefs, they're watching what's going on as they're out there, and that could be very well the case. They've watched Ben Britton push around that 83 all night, and what a good job he's done at it, and maybe he's hoping he'll push him too. As we're back to green here, looks like, I scratched that idea. Looks like the 84 there, Calatoni, dropped down to that inside line right in front of Gutierrez as soon as they got across that line at the start-finish line, and wants to go back to the bottom now. Oh, and looks like everybody is kind of dropping that inside line now. Oh, the 83 and the 24 get a little door slamming action going on there as the 83 was trying to catch a little bit of draft, but it looks like Timmy St. Jean has been left hanging out up there on his high line by himself right now.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm looking back at the 27 of Del Reynolds, and he's smoking.
Yeah, it looks to me like that 27, he's pulling down off the track now onto the apron. It looks like he's about to call it a night. That's just too much damage to that car to be able to continue. It's looking like, like you said, there's a lot of smoke coming out of it.
I think that engine has expired.
Yeah, tough luck for Dale Reynolds, who had a really great year last year, his first year back over here on ARCA Sim Racing with NuffWorld. He put together a real good year last year and was looking to put together another year just like that this year, but that's not going to happen tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it looks like he's going to make it down pit road, and these guys will stay green.
Yeah, as I'm looking back up front here, looks like that 84 of Calatoni and the 08 of Danny Gutierrez up there in first and second. Looks like they may be trying to pull another Ben Britton and Timmy St. Jean, stay fairly well nose to tail and see if they can't lead this for a while.
Yeah, without a doubt. And look at Jerry Hinkle up in the 4th position now.
Yeah, Jerry, he's been pretty quiet tonight so far, but like you said, he's moved himself up into the 4th position, and he's putting together a good, solid run tonight as long as he can continue to stay out of trouble.
I saw a car come across that backstretch. Looks like we definitely have a caution out of that one.
Yeah, we got a caution out of it. I'm hearing from pit road reporters that it involved the 54 of Charles Chapman. I'm not sure who else was involved in that one, but it definitely has brought out the caution. And I'm kind of just looking through the field here a little bit, but at number 88 of Ed Wilson, looks like rear end's caved in a little bit on his car. Just kind of looking at that, looks like somebody may have got him pretty good on a bump there too. Yeah, sounds like from the pit road reporter, what I'm hearing, the 25 of McKinney and the 54 of Chapman were the two involved in that one.
Yeah, we're going back to the replay here, and it just looks like the 54 got in the back of him and just may have been a really hard hit. Yeah,
sometimes the closing speed on this track, it's ungodly almost. I mean, I've been out here, a few times in these practice races through the off season that we had, and the closing rate you get sometimes on these, you don't really realize how much speed you're carrying when you get up behind somebody, and by the time you realize how fast you're coming up on them and try to check up, it's just too late. You'll still get in the rear end. It's like I say, it's almost ungodly how fast you can come up through there on that.
Yeah, and they definitely punted Frankie Samato off on the track, and he did take that inside wall, so he's going to have considerable damage from that.
Yeah,
looks like the 24, though, didn't take much damage out of it.
Yeah, it looks like he was kind of right place at the right time. So, yeah, the 54 don't look like he got too much out of it. Looks like, almost just another little tap, but wrong place there. I mean, coming, right there where that turn kind of flattens out a little bit into the straight. You've heard a lot of guys over the years talk about that's a problem area if you get a bump right there. So that could be what happened.
Now, I don't see many people going down pit road. Seems like we're getting closer to the end of this race, lap 75. We have completed 54 of them now.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, as they come across the line now, that's 55 laps completed, about 20 or so to go. And tonight's, this Red Line Design Shootout has definitely been putting some guys, you don't see together a lot of times, putting them together, and been a lot of action going on out there on the track. You know, started out the night, looks like it was mainly going to be a strategy race, as it was staying green for a long time, and a lot of these guys were trying to, you know, just stay single file and try to make some time. And then, you know, that's, as we referred to a lot earlier during the race, you know, that first green flag pit cycle came up, and it seems like after that it's become all shook up. But I was kind of looking here throughout that exchange, you know, looks like the 83 of Timmy St. Jean and Ben Britton, they were about to get linked back up there together. It'd been pretty interesting to see, you know, what they would have done if they'd have got back together again, see if they'd have rode around behind someone or actually tried to push towards the front again already.
Yeah, and they did come into that bottom line on that last restart. I have a feeling that they probably would have stayed where they were. That outside line does work here. I'm surprised more guys aren't taking that chance, though.
I'll tell you, two guys we haven't really spoke a whole lot about tonight kind of snuck themselves up there a little bit now. Is that number 88 of Ed Wilson and the 24 of Chuck Garcia. Now, those two guys are teammates, so, you know, if they get together, they may try to run together, you know, up here, down there in 7th and 8th position. I'm sorry. Yeah, 7th and 8th position. They may try to maybe get together and draft with each other and see where they can go with it.
Yeah, most definitely. They are double file and coming out of turn 4, I believe, and getting ready to take the green flag on lap 56.
You know, and kind of looking at, too, right now in looking at your top 10, with the exception, we just talked about Ed Wilson and Garcia there, the 88 and 24. There are no teammates up there together to help each other out. So that could be a plus for those two if they can get together.
Yeah, and I'll bet you that 88 lets him in.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Looks like that outside line might have got stacked up a little bit there on the restart. Not sure what happened, but in either case, that inside line took off that time. I mean, they got a real good jump as that outside line seems to have stacked up. So, looks like Ed Wilson has shuffled in right there behind, in 5th place behind the 25 car. So, you know, it kind of worked out good for him, but he definitely got separated from teammate Garcia there by about 3 cars. And Ed Wilson, I'm kind of watching here, Ed Wilson at 88. We always, anybody who's been around NuffWORLD knows that guy likes that high side out here in Daytona and Talladega, and look where he's at.
He's going to the high side with, I believe that's the 34 of Ben Britton and the 25 of Travis McKinney. But you saw Jeremy and Enix in that 19. He closed that bottom line once they pulled out, so he's not going to give him that chance to pull back down if they think that was the wrong mistake. But
yeah, but at the same time, you can't blame Jeremy for that one, because you know what? If you check up to let somebody in on a track like this or on a restart, and the next thing happens is you're getting punted, just like we saw earlier with
yeah, you're going to have to watch that guy behind you.
Exactly. You might be able to check up, but there's no way that guy behind you knows that you're about to lock the brake up real quick.
Yeah, and he started back, I believe, in the 10th position, and he went from 10th by those guys pulling out like that into the 3rd place position, so he's definitely not going to give that up.
Yeah, he's definitely, and he's got another real good one there. I'm going to be interested to see, though, kind of looking at that front pack right now, if they can get a far enough ahead there. The 83 of Timmy St. Jean, just a little bit behind him, and on that high side is Ben Britton, who he's been with all night. It's going to be interesting to see if he jumps up there and they try to make that high line work.
Yeah, the one thing we didn't see, though, is Travis McKinney out here practicing much this week. So with him not getting much practice, it's interesting that, you know, he may not be able to get to the bumper of that 34 as these are open setups. But now that 34 is got some help, and he's a great pusher, and that 15 pulled out in front of him. Look who we got lined back up in the 5th and 6th position.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to refer to that. Looky here. You know, these guys, we talked about, I mean, if you remember, you know, not that many laps ago, we were talking about what a bad spot they were in, with both of them sideways and around backwards coming down pit road. And now here they are leading the way on that outside, you know, pushing the charge towards the front. So, just like we said earlier in the race, you know, you never know at Daytona, man. You can go from best car out here to junk in a matter of a lap, or, you know, 20 laps, you can go from junk to something good.
Yeah, and I went down to our pit road reporter right there and found out that our number 3 and number 8 of Louis Bussa and Christian Vasquez, respectively, they have 0 damage from the incident that they saw back on pit road. So I definitely would look out for these two.
Yeah, if those guys escaped that with both of them spinning like that, didn't touch anything and got no damage, and now they're back up here like this, yeah, I would definitely look out, just like you said, Stephen, because it wouldn't surprise me a bit to see them two, for lack of better words, it wouldn't surprise me to see that number 8 Vasquez just pushing the bumper completely off that number 3 to get him up there.
Yeah, not just right below the 8 there, you can see the number 30 of Kelly, Kevin Kelly driving. I believe that's the me car, ain't it?
Yeah, that is the me car. That's an interesting paint scheme for Kelly to be running. You know, this year he's been running the 3 for the last couple of years over here in NuffWorld, and he made a statement earlier in the off season talking about, you know, he wanted to get back to his roots because he started out with NuffWorld driving that number 30. So he kind of wanted to get back to his roots, so he's going back to the number 30 this year. And you know, that guy's been one of those. He's been a contender almost every year over here in the NuffWorld Racing League, but you know, hasn't been able to get that championship. So you know, even though he's got what I think 3 EPR does that he owns, 3 team championships, I don't think he's been able to pull. He hasn't been able to pull off that championship yet. And maybe this is something. Maybe he needed a little spark, and they'll help him out this year to get there and finally close that thing down.
Oh, and he makes contact with the number 15 of Benj out there. It looks like, oh, it is stacking them up. We have 2 cars spinning across the track with Chuck
got a caution out
Garcia,
here.
and I'm trying to get you the number of that other car, but oh, and that's 12 of Jerry Hinkle.
Oh, we were just talking about Hinkle too. What a good run he was having. You know, he's the quiet guy out here usually. You know, he's very quiet, very courteous driver, but. Seems like Hinkle just always finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time, just like he did right there.
Yeah, and we're looking at that replay now. It all started with that number 30 up front. It looks like may not have started with him, but he definitely got out. You know, the contact between the 15 and the 30 definitely caused that incident. It looks like it stacked up that outside line, and.
Yeah, just like you were saying earlier, Stephen. I mean, once you know, once that line stacks up that you're in, you know, one guy may be able to slow down, second guy not be able to slow down fast enough. But you know, as it continues to stacking up, the chances of everybody in your line all knowing that you know, it'll be a quick slowdown and we all need to hit the brakes, the chances aren't that great, and it can cause some issues. But
yeah,
looks like Anthony Calatoni, though, has been able to keep himself up there in that first place position now for a little while, with Gutierrez back there in the number 8 in second place, still pushed him. And like you said earlier, Jeremy Enix there at number 19, he was really able to take advantage of you know, that outside line stacking up and jump up into that third place position there. And you know, knowing what I know about Jeremy, you know, he's not content with third place. He's going to find a dancing partner before this is all over with and make a run to the front.
I definitely think you're right about that, and I wouldn't put it past him to start hooking up with that 3 and 8 car.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me a bit. I mean, these guys, they talk quite frequently. They're good friends both on and off the track, so you know, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. You know, you'll see Enix hooking up with that 3 and the 8 and making a run to the front. So it'll be interesting to see, though, on this restart. You know, well, you know what? I'm kind of looking at how they're running here with. Jeremy in third, and then it's going to be on the outside line with that 3 and the 8. Vasquez and Busso still be hooked up together. It'll be interesting to see if Enix doesn't try to maybe move up right in front of them if he gets the chance, and try to all 3 of them get on that high line and work it together, because you know those guys like working the high line too.
Yeah, and they usually do a pretty good job of it. Looks like we're getting double file here one more time.
Yeah, and I tell you, looks like you know, there's been quite a few cars moving around here and such tonight. I mean, a lot of guys, but so far, what you've been seeing, I mean, I would just, you know, from observation here, the one steady I've seen tonight is Timmy St. Jean. He has had that car of his. Him and Britton have been pretty much up close to the front about all night. Those two have all, you know, always been there together. But now it's going to be interesting now that those two really aren't that close together, to see how it goes. And
yeah,
it looks like what I'm hearing from pit road right now may have been a little bit of equipment failure there. Here we go. We're back to green now. That kind of stacked up everything, caused a little bit of that caution there. But as we go back to green here, Anthony Calatoni leading the way. He's up on that outside line. Oh, looks like he touches Danny Gutierrez, pushes him down below that yellow line. Had to jump out of it a little bit, and that number 19 at Enix is looking to make a move on the inside going into 1. He looks like he's going to make the pass, but it'll be interesting. Well, Calatoni drops back down inside, gets right behind Enix, and we got ourselves a new leader now. But that 83 up there in the high line looks like he's getting some drafting help. He wants to make a move up there to the front, too.
Yeah, and that was getting pretty exciting there. The 83 of Timmy St. Jean was getting bumped all around this track. It's a good thing that he held on to it, though, because now he's got the 3 behind him, and see if that outside line can actually make some action happen here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we really haven't seen a whole lot of people get up on that outside yet and stick with it low enough to see if it's really going to work. But what I'm seeing right now coming down this front stretch right here, going into turn 1, looks like that outside line has got a lot of momentum coming in through there. And coming off of turn 2 and 3, may have enough before they get into 3 and 4 to actually make the move.
They sure do, and it's definitely going to have the 84 Anthony on the bump with that 19 Jeremy Enix to help, that bottom line get back to the front, because that 3 car is on the 83 of Timmy St. Jean.
Yeah, there is no doubt about that. That number 3 is wearing out the bump of that number 83 of Timmy St. Jean, and looks like they're going to make the pass right here as they move down. Yep, sure enough, they drop down to that inside line now, and they said, hey, look there, the high line works, guys, so now we're going to make you use it just like we did to get around us as they move down to that inside line and take over the 1 and 2 position. But yeah, that was a great restart all around, just kind of thinking back to that. There was a lot of cars there, and but look at this. You got Ed Wilson back here in, looks like the 5th place position, outside of Jeremy Enix, but looks like he's going to have to drop back down and get behind Enix, as Enix has been shuffled all the way back now to 4th place.
Oh, and Anthony Calatoni gets tapped. And, oh, what a great save. He makes it back on the track. We're definitely going to have to look at that one.
Yeah, that was a nice piece of driving right there by Calatoni to keep from bringing out another caution and to be able to save that car and not do any type of damage. That was, like you said, that was a great piece of driving right there, because that could have gotten real ugly for about half the field there. And looks like right now, Calatoni is he was even able to stay in that and keep the draft there. So it looks like we got a caution out. I'm not sure. I may have missed what this was called for. I'm not really for sure, but either way, we got another caution out here. Looks like something may have happened back here with Dennis Wright. As I see him, he's down on the apron now. Moving fairly slow. I'm not exactly sure what happened. We may have to go back and take a look at what happened with the number 4 there of Dennis Wright. So, not really sure what happened.
Yeah, we're bringing that up right now. The Dennis Wright, the number 4 right there on our high side, right side now. Looks like he just, looks like 25 got into the wall and then stacked him up a little bit, got to the inside of him, and 25 trying to get off the wall just, doored him.
Wow, and I tell you, looking at that one, the one that got away pretty lucky on that was the number 12 of Hinkle, because he was pretty much just riding around down there on that inside when they both come down and just about got pushed below that yellow line. And if he'd have got down there in the position they were in, he was definitely going around. So he caught a little bit of a lucky break there in not getting pushed any further than he did. But the one that definitely caught a bad break out of that was the number 4, Dennis Wright, who, he's been quiet so far out here tonight. But, getting down to these late stages of races, everybody's starting to look at what kind of moves they're going to make. And apparently, I'm looking at the monitor here, looks like that may have been just a little too much for that car of Dennis Wright's, as he's put her behind the wall and called it a night now. So we may have to talk with him later on, see, what happened there from his perspective.
Yeah, I believe he just got punted and felt that he had a little bit too much damage and didn't want to affect the outcome of this race, since there are only 7 laps to go.
So, as we were sitting there watching all that, I'm not really sure what happened. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention. Old age is catching into me, but we have Lewis Bussa up there in the number 1 position with Vasquez in 2nd, and Timothy St. Jean, he's been pushed all the way back into 4th. I'm not really sure Excuse me, fifth. I'm not really sure what happened there with that stuff up front.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you with that one. We're back there looking at Anthony Calatoni with his great save that we missed action up front.
But either way, now this is going to make for an interesting restart now, though, with those two who we know are teammates and are going to want to get back to nose to tail as fast as they can back there with the number 3 and the number 8 of Bussa and Vasquez. So it's going to make for an interesting restart with those two running side by side. And of course, we got the number 19 right there behind Bussa in third place with Jeremy Enix. And you know, if he's not going to do anything. I mean, we saw that the last 2 or 3 restarts. He's not going to do anything to let someone come down in front of him. That's for sure. He's keeping every position that he can, which, like I say, Jeremy, when he comes out to race, he's always out there to win.
Yeah, and it looked like about 5 people chose to come down pit road right there and put 4 new tires on it to see if they haven't got a new advantage here. And I believe they're going to do a quickie yellow here, which means the pits are open one time only, and then double file and come back to the green.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have, what, about 5 laps to go when we go back to green. So we're looking at nothing more than a quick, just like the name implies, we're looking for a shootout now for the last 5 laps. And I know we had just a little practice race here about a week or two ago, you know, kind of came down to the same thing, and it got real dicey and got real interesting there towards the end with only 5 to go. So, you know, at this point of the race, if you come to the green, there's only 5 to go. Their friendship is kind of out the window at this point. It's every man for himself. You know, if somebody can push you and get you up front, there's going to be no problem, you know, to leave them to find someone who will continue to push you if that's the case may be. So maybe seeing some friendships busted here now.
Boy, and some new ones made.
That's for sure. But yeah, like I say, it's wow. You know, if you told me 20, 30, whatever laps it was, 20, 30 laps ago when Louis Buss and Christian Vasquez looked like they were doing a simultaneous spin coming on the pit road down there, that, you know, we'd have 5 to go and these two would be number 1 and number 2. I just don't think I'd have believed you at that point, but hey, here we are. This is Daytona. Anything can happen. It looks like we're stacked up here, double file, coming down, getting ready to take the green. So, well, it's going to be a 5-lap shootout, and there's the green flag just dropped. And looks like Vasquez and Timmy St. Jean may have caught Bussa kind of napping there on that one a little bit. Got a pretty good run, but oh, sure enough, caution came out. We got a caution out on the track. Must have happened right behind where we were looking.
Yeah, I think because that number 3 didn't quite go, that might have stacked up that inside line, and some people weren't exactly ready for that stack up.
I'm kind of looking back here in the field. Looks like the number 15 there, Benj, may have been the one on that one. Looks like he may not have gone as quickly as the car behind him thought. Looks like he got a little bump which sent him off to his right-hand side and banged into the 34 and put both of them into that outside wall. So that was a real tough break there. Looked like the number 15 from my point of view. I'll have to go back and look for sure. Yeah, it was number 15, which took a real bump in the back.
84 of Anthony Calatoni getting the back of the 15s. That inside line just got stacked up. Not much you can do about a stack up like that. I mean, it's really hard for those guys behind that don't see it to let off. And by the time they realize it, they're already involved.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at just, you know, went back and looked at a little bit of the onboard there of the number 15 of Benj. And sure enough, you know, it looks like that inside line, he hammered the gas and was ready to go, and then that, you know, line stacked up in front of him, so he checked up, and 84 didn't know he was checking up, so he got him in that rear end, and sure enough, we got about 4 cars damaged now out of that one. It's amazing though here at Daytona just how quickly, you know, your fortune can turn to, you know, misfortune, you know, on that, you know, and those restarts are always the crucial thing, you know, because if any one line doesn't get moving, that can cause turmoil. I mean, you could be running in 27th position and still be a victim here at Daytona with a restack on the stack up on a restart like that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We've got a couple more coming down pit road for some more damage repair off of that one.
You know, I'm kind of looking at as they run right now, so to speak. You're going to have Louis Bussa, you know, whether I'm assuming, you know, based off of what he's done in the past, going to take that inside line. He'll have Jeremy Enix lined up right behind him in that 19, with Christian Vasquez on the outside with that 83 of Timmy St. Jean right behind him. So you got two very good cars going to be side by side with two very good pushers right behind them. So
well, you know, I wouldn't be surprised though if you saw that number 3 pull up to that high side. If he gets cleared of that number 8 of Christian Vasquez, there's those 3 cars again, and I wouldn't put it past them to go the high side on this one after they get the green flag.
Now, that's true too. I mean, there's a lot of different strategies and scenarios that could definitely play out here, as it's getting this thing is almost over, and it's about time to put it all on the line. I mean, as the old saying goes, leave it all out on the track. And I guarantee you, before this one's over with, you're going to see a few guys, as the Professor Kevin Kelly likes to say, you're going to see a few guys come back with nothing but the steering wheel.
That's right. There's no doubt about that. You might have that last lap big old pile up, but we'll bring it to you live. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it looks like they're stacked up here, double file. Looks like they may be getting ready to try to go back to green here, and as they come around to take lap 72. So if we go green this time, it's going to be a 3-lap shootout.
That would be going green at 72. They'll have 73, 74, and to 75. I believe you're right. 3-lap shootout.
Yeah, so reach up there and buckle them belts real tight, because it's about to be wild. And looks like we're coming around here, coming down, and there's the green flag. We're back to racing, and looks like everybody got a pretty good start that time. But that 19 of Enix is just glued to the bumper of Louis Bussa and pushing for all he's worth on that restart, with the 88 pushing right behind with on Jeremy Enix. So it looks like that inside line got a real good jump, but that inside is just strong. But the outside, we'll have to see once it gathers up some momentum, gets themselves a couple of cars out there, see how this one comes down to the line here. But right now it's Louis Bussa leading the way with Jeremy Enix in tow. And looks like Ed Wilson at an 88, surprisingly enough, up there trying to take over third position. He's been relatively quiet tonight, but he finds himself in the right position right now. But he needs to really close up on the bumper of Enix to make that inside line go. And looks like Christian Vasquez in fourth. It looks like he's just dropped down right there behind Ed Wilson, and looks like he's trying to get on the inside line and maybe make something salvage out of this. But Timmy St. Jean up there in at 83, he stayed on the outside line and tried to make something work. We'll see how it all pans out.
Oh, and we had the 08 go to the apron and make a good save coming back up. Looks like they gave him room.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 88 back there in third place, though. Ed Wilson, he's really looking. He keeps bouncing up there on that high side, but it doesn't look like anybody wants to go with him, because, and we all know, as he gets down on the apron there a little bit, we all know Ed Wilson, he loves that outside line. He really believes in it, and if he can get someone going up there with him that can push well, he may have himself a chance to make a run at the win here. But I don't know. It looks like he's getting about all the bumper he can handle right now from that number 80, Christian Vasquez.
Yeah, it definitely looked like the number 8 was going to pull on the inside of him, but he definitely got back in the left rear of him. I wouldn't put it past the 88 again.
Oh, wow. It looks like we got cars just all over the place, and it looks like, I don't know what happened with Wilson right there, but he definitely got out of line and lost it. Oh, he's on the apron, and he's looked like something went wrong with that car. It just ain't acting right. And right now we got a 3-car breakaway up there in the front, and it looks like Enix now is trying to pull up, go to the outside line, and Vasquez is trying to go underneath him. This is getting to be an interesting race here coming down to the end.
Oh, and the 19 gets turned by the 8.
Yeah, the 19 got turned right there by the 8.
And it
so
keeps going.
Wow, that was definitely a interesting finish as we came down to the end right there. So wow. So it looks like if I was correct, the number 19 came around and was able to take the second place finish there, though.
Yeah, that was checker flag. We missed that white flag with all the action on the track.
Well, I tell you, there was action going on all over the track there, coming around to take that white flag in that last lap. But that was definitely a very interesting race coming down to the end there. And I want to say, first of all, congratulations to Louis Busta, the number 8, on a win tonight. And I'm telling you, Christian Vasquez coming around third too. The way that those two came down pit road on that first pit stop and spun it out like that, if you'd have told me they'd come in 1 and 3, I'd have really been surprised at that point.
Yeah, that's definitely right. When you try to rewind and get that checkered flag at the line.
Yeah, it looks like Vasquez and Enix, I mean, they were really slugging it out door handle to door handle right there coming to the line to trip that second place position. I mean, it looks like Enix, you know, kind of what I saw there, just coming out of 4, kind of looked to go maybe to the high side. Thought maybe Vasquez would go with him, and he just kind of left him hanging there high and dry and tried to take over that second position. But for those of you out there, stay tuned. We're going to have some interviews here with some of tonight's drivers and such. But this has been a very interesting Redline Designs shootout tonight. I mean, this is the end of that race. I mean, there's no way you can really beat that. I mean, there was a lot of action going on all over the track. The entire last lap coming to the finish line, and you know, you even seen, you know, 2 guys slugging for it there for second place, and Enix gets turned just after the finish, but still walks away with a second place finish.
And you got the number 3 doing his burnout celebration.
Yeah, that's a well-deserved burnout because, I mean, wow. Like I said, to come from, you know, even being a lap down at one point there, Louis Bussa was at number 3. He played a smart race all night, you know, keeping with people, you know, that could push him and keeping with people he trusted. And it looked like him and that number 8, somehow or another, were able to stay together just about all night. You know, I think that was, overall, it was a difference maker, I think, in this case, having someone up there that could push you throughout the entire race.
Yeah, most definitely. And as the number 3 pulls into the victory lane, we're going to go to a commercial. Your top 3. We'll be right back.
Are you looking to start your own professional internet radio station the easy way? Sam Vibe was specifically designed for you. From the makers of Sam Broadcaster, Sam Vibe takes advantage of the cloud to let you focus on what is important: managing and running your station. There are 5 simple steps to get started with Sam Vibe. 1. Sign up for a free account at NuffWORLD.com. No credit card information is required to get a free account. 2. Download and install Sam Vibe. 3. Check your email to retrieve your account information and login details. 4. Run Sam Vibe and enter your username and password. 5. The Sam Vibe Quick Start Wizard shows you the first steps to start your station. Simply upload your music, turn on your station, and tune in. Too easy? Don't worry, Sam Vibe caters for the needs of both novice and professional broadcasters. Sound exciting? Give it a try. Sign up for free now at samvibe.com to experience how broadcasting should be.
All right, and welcome back here tonight to the Redline Designs Pole Award Shootout Series. And, what an interesting race. What a race there at the end. But got Lewis Busser, tonight's race winner, up here. First of all, I want to say congratulations, Lewis. But got to ask you, that first pit stop when you were coming down pit road there, what happened with that? Because it looks like you just, the car just went crazy on you, and next thing you know, you're sideways and in the grass. Kind of talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, we kind of last minute decided we were going to pit, and I jerked it down there and was bouncing off the apron. It was kind of wheel hopping, and I stepped on the brakes, and there was just no chance of slowing it down. It kept bouncing, all the way down there. I thought for sure I was going to speed. I knew for sure I was going to speed. I should have just let it roll in instead of trying to spin it out to slow it down. But I don't know. We got lucky there. A caution came out about 10 laps after that, and I was able to get a wave by, and then me and Christian were just kind of patient about how we worked our way through the field, and it just worked out to where the holes opened up at the right time, and we were able to get back up there together.
Yeah, that was another question I was going to ask you. I mean, that was interesting because it seemed like every time we saw you out on the track tonight, you and that number 8 there, Christian, you two were just locked nose to tail. Was there a strategy involved or something that you two were able to stay together the entire race like that without getting separated?
Well, we're real good friends, and we spend a lot of time practicing on here. Like I've been teaching him on setups and all that stuff, so we'll get on here and we'll practice and do that, and we push. So we're both real comfortable with each other. Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart, or I'm not like comparing ourselves to them, but we're just comfortable with each other. How we're working together. So that was kind of our plan. If we could kind of get grouped together, we were going to go with each other if we could. But you know how it is at the end of it. You just got to go with, who's there.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the things we had referred to. It'd be interesting to see if you guys were to get separated. But luckily enough, you guys caught the brakes and were able to stay together all night. And it looks like Christian was able to really just stay latched onto your bumper all night. That looked like the case from up here.
Yeah, he's a real good pusher. He don't do anything crazy behind you to get the car leading the pack out of shape through the corners to where so you don't lose momentum or nothing like that. So he's a real careful pusher. He's real steady with his wheel inputs. It really helps you get momentum up because that very first run when I got to lead in that last pack and he was behind me. We were coming on that front pack. It sucked that we had to make that pit stop because I would have liked to seen what we could do with the run when we got to him. But that's just what it is when you get him behind you. He knows what he's doing. He can really push around the track.
Well, awesome. That's Lewis Busser, tonight's Redline Designs Pole Award Shootout winner. Lewis, before I let you go out of here, any shout outs or anyone you want to thank for tonight's race?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank all the sponsors, Redline Designs, Nick Thames. I knew he had a tough break in the middle of the race. I saw he was on the back stretch wrecked in the grass there. I don't know what happened to him, but that sucks that he never, he couldn't get a chance to finish it out. I'd like to thank Kelly for offering me the opportunity to drive the 3. That's pretty awesome because 3's always meant a lot to me, and I was always wanting to drive it, but I was comfortable, with Kelly driving it. But he offered it to me earlier, and that was awesome. I'd like to thank all the NuffWORLD admins, Ed Wilson, Buster, all the guys that were broadcasting. This is just crazy, everything you got going on. Game Informer, the VSU Cup Series, just everything we got going on here is awesome. So thanks to everybody if I didn't mention you.
All right, congratulations once again, Lewis Busser, tonight's Redline Designs Pole Award Shootout Series winner. And we'll move on now to our second place finisher tonight, number 19, Jeremy Enix. Okay, Jeremy, congratulations. Great job tonight. Brought her home in second. Looks like there for the first part of that race anyway, you may have been kind of mired back in traffic a little bit, wrong place at the wrong time, but you're able to make some moves, get yourself up in front. Kind of talk to us a little bit. Tell us how the night was for you in that number 19 machine.
Well, it started pretty bad. Almost got into a wreck on pit road right away. I don't know what happened there. I had to swerve into the grass and avoid that. And then right on the start, my line didn't go, so I was back in that pack with Bussa and Christian just trying to catch back up all night. And I saw them, spin going on the pit road, and lo and behold, next lap I pit, get a speeding penalty, pit it all by myself as it was, so that caution was the best thing that could have happened to me. And once I caught that break, I kind of got up to the front pack. It was mostly just trying to shove myself into the inside line, kept getting hung out. And then I think I got the lead with about 15 to go, 20 to go, and that hung out to dry, go figure, on the inside line, right? So after that, I figured I'd just hold third and see what I could do on the last lap. I wish Christian would have went with me. That might have been a little more interesting than it was. Spun out, but things happen. I still got Daytona to look forward to.
Well, you just answered the next question I was about to ask you there. Coming out of turn 4 there, it looks like you were looking to take that outside line and didn't get any help. But you kind of, I guess you got yourself kind of a disadvantage there tonight when you got two teammates right there together and then you've got no help really yourself. I mean, is that kind of the case of what happened for you?
Yeah, I didn't really expect any help. I figured if I came off the inside out of 4, I might have a chance at winning, but I wouldn't lose third, so it did work out for me. Because I already knew if I went up on the backstretch, I'd be going back to like 5th place across the line, so thought I'd take my best shot, and it almost worked out. I think I got to about his tire, but I can't complain. I could have finished 10th, 15th, and in a wreck, but, just a battle all night. Real fun, though.
Yeah, and that was, like I say, me and Steven were calling it there coming to the line. It looks like you and Christian, after you moved up there coming out of 4, and he tried to get under you. It looks like you guys had a real good door handle to door handle battle there, going for 2nd place coming to the line. And then, I mean, I'm just kind of wondering after the start finish there, it looks like you got spun. Did you guys touch, or what happened there?
I think it was just a case of he relaxed after we crossed the line and kind of forgot I was right there, which spun me out. But just a 360, no big deal, no damage. Gave him a little piece of my mind afterwards, but things happen. Can't really do anything about it. It's the end of the race anyway. Didn't hurt anyone.
Right. Does that kind of whet your appetite now going into the duels next week to get back on the track and really wear it out now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm real excited for the duels and the TeamSpeak 500. It's going to be real fun if tonight's any indication of it.
All right, well, congratulations on the 2nd place run tonight there in that number 19, Jeremy. Any sponsors, anything anyone you want to thank for tonight?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to thank Nextraline for hopping on this race, Black and Pink Batteries, Medina Motor Oil, and all the NuffWORLD admins, VSU, Redline Designs, Halls on Post, Nuff Radio, Game Informer, everyone that decided to sponsor the series. And I'd like to thank Lacey for adminning and just everyone else who helped out. Steve Dale for painting all those cars. Everyone puts in their effort, and it's nice to see the result.
All right. Congratulations on a 2nd place finish there tonight, Jeremy. And we'll step over here and get that number 8 machine, Christian Vasquez, our little Costa Rican buddy. Congratulations on a 3rd place finish tonight, Christian.
Yeah, thank you. It was an exciting race. Have to play it out safe, try to keep the fenders on the car, because it's going to be wild at some points of the race, and just be smart. And sometimes by doing that, you get yourself into trouble by spinning on pit road and doing stuff like that when you can't really do something like you're trying to get to pit road and not get people around you over because you're doing it last moment. And then try not to hit the wall when you're spinning. And then that caution came out and helped me and Lewis get back to the lead lap and just be patient and work our way through the pack and then play it out at the end.
Now, Christian, one of the things me and Steven kind of alluded to, during the first part of this race was, winning at Homestead last year, finally getting that monkey off your back, getting your first win over here in the NuffWorld. Now, coming off that win there at Homestead, finishing off the season, now coming out here for the shootout, and coming home with a 3rd place finish, and with the tutoring and the work you've done this off season with Louis Bussa there, how confident, how you feel about especially going forward to this next year?
I feel a lot comfortable going to this year with already a year on your belt, and then being able to get a new wheel and set up the right way to be able to compete, be able to go door to door with these awesome drivers like Jeremy, Bussa, Dale, and all of them that put an awesome show for the fans, and at the same time make you sweat a lot of times being frustrated. You can't beat them, but you gotta work your way through and then learn more stuff to get better and being able to beat them in one of those races. They get bad luck.
Yeah, now going back to that first pit stop there, we kind of alluded to it with Lewis. You know, when you guys looks like you almost kind of at the last minute said, "Hey, we're going to pit," you know, kind of ducked down. Now, was that a tense moment? Because it looked like you were real close there at one point to taking out that inside wall. How close were you to that?
I saw my car. I was trying to keep it off the wall, and then when I saw my rear end getting near it, I just slapped it into second gear and just smashed the gas to keep it off the wall, and I guess it worked well and kept my car clean.
Awesome, awesome. Well, congratulations, Christian, on a third place finish here tonight in the Redline Designs Pole Award Shootout. Any sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
I'd like to thank my sponsor, Spike Plus. I want to thank my teammates for taking time sometimes late at night practice with us. Bruce, Bando, Lewis for teaching me stuff that makes you a better driver and makes you learn stuff about setups and guiding me through stuff that maybe I didn't know or maybe I was too nervous to do and stuff. And I want to thank Lacey for being an awesome admin, and then you guys for putting your time into this broadcast and making it look so awesome for all the fans.
All right. Well, congratulations on that third place finish there and bringing home the big number 8 tonight in third place, Christian. And go have yourself a good cold one, man. You deserve it. So have yourself a good one. But that pretty much does it here for us up here in the booth tonight at the Redline Designs Pole Award Shootout. But just one note before we go off the air. I know Stephen had mentioned it earlier tonight. The winner of tonight's race will get a custom die cast made of the car that they won with, or any car of their choosing. That is going to be a free of charge as a gift for tonight's win from Redline Designs Pole Award. You know, you should go over there. You know, if you ever want to get any cars made, you know, of any actual die cast made of the cars you run here on ARCA or iRacing or any of the sims, you know, go check these guys out at Redline Designs. They do some great work. I've looked at their page. They've got a lot of good stuff that they do. These guys can really hook you up and got a good deal on it too. And before we sign off tonight, I would like to say personally, you know, thank you to Nick Thames for sponsoring tonight's event, and also for the Redline Design Pole Award that we run each year. And also a big shout out, I know he was working his butt off tonight, Stephen Mahana over there in the producer booth, man. Great job tonight. And I guess we'll sign it off here, and we'll be back next week with, next week we got the duels. So same time, same channel. We look forward to seeing you here, and good night all.
important to me to have fast, organized, quality voice comms. With TeamSpeak, I'm able to quickly customize user permissions and email a privilege key to an offline user. So the next time they log into the server, they'll be set up exactly how I want them to be. TeamSpeak also lets us do file transfers, assign player rank, insignia, upload avatars, or create custom skins. For me, there's no better choice out there than TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak is free to use for non-commercial entities. Low-cost professional hosting is also available through our global network of authorized TeamSpeak host providers. For online gaming titles, social networks, government, military, or simulator projects, TeamSpeak also offers a software development kit. The TeamSpeak SDK allows developers to integrate our technology directly into their existing product or service. So no matter which game you're playing or with whom you wish to communicate, TeamSpeak has you covered. TeamSpeak. Flexible, powerful, crystal clear voice communication on any platform.